Everyone dreams of success. Everyone wants wealth, freedom, and recognition. But here's the question: why do so few ever achieve it? The truth is simple. Desire alone will not bring you riches. Imagination alone will not create wealth. Without a plan, desire is only a wish. Without action, imagination is only a fantasy. Success belongs only to those who take their dreams and organize them into a practical plan of action. Think about it. A builder does not start a skyscraper without blueprints. A surgeon does not enter an operation without preparation. And yet, most people enter life's biggest mission, the mission of creating wealth, with no plan at all. They drift, they hope, they dream, but they never organize. That is why organized planning is the turning point between rich and poor, between success and failure. Every fortune ever created began with a plan. Henry Ford did not stumble into the automobile industry by accident. He mapped his course, step by step, building a team, creating systems, and never letting obstacles break his plan. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times, but his persistence was always guided by a method. He had an organized plan for each experiment, each test, and each failure became a stepping stone to success. This chapter is not about vague ideas. It is about strategy. It is about discipline. It is about converting your desire into a working plan and your plan into daily actions. Napoleon Hill says the difference between a wish and a burning desire is planning. A wish waits for luck. A burning desire builds a road, and that road is created through organized planning. Here's the first principle: no one succeeds alone. Your plan must include a team. Hill calls it the mastermind. Surround yourself with people who bring knowledge, skills, and perspectives you don't have. Alone, your knowledge is limited. With a team, your power multiplies. Every great fortune is the result of cooperative effort. Second, your plan must be definite. Vague plans create vague results. To say, "I want to be rich someday," is not a plan. To say, "I will build a business that earns $1 million in 5 years by serving this market with this product," is a plan. Definite, specific, and measurable. Third, your plan must be flexible. No plan survives the first contact with reality. Obstacles will come, failures will test you, and conditions will change. That's why Hill reminds us, temporary defeat is not failure. It is simply feedback. The successful person adjusts, revises, and keeps moving. The unsuccessful person quits. So let me ask you, do you have a plan for your desire, or do you only have a wish? Do you know the exact steps you will take, or are you hoping success will magically appear? This is the moment to face that truth. Because wealth is not an accident. It is a design. Let's dig deeper into the power of planning. Most people think success is about one big idea. They imagine a sudden breakthrough, a lucky chance, or a golden opportunity. But in reality, success is rarely one giant leap. It is thousands of small, organized steps carried out day after day. Think of a train. A powerful locomotive without tracks goes nowhere. It may have energy, but without direction, it's useless. Your desire is the locomotive. Your plan is the track. Without the track, all that energy burns out. With the track, the train moves steadily toward its destination. Napoleon Hill tells us that every plan should be tested in practice. Do not wait for a perfect plan. There is no such thing. The only real test of a plan is action. Begin at once. Take the first step. Apply your plan, even if it is not flawless. You can always correct and refine as you go. Remember this: the greatest danger is not a bad plan. The greatest danger is no plan at all. Hill also warns us about the two enemies of planning: procrastination and indecision. How many dreams have died because someone kept waiting for the right time? How many opportunities vanished because someone could not decide? Wealth does not wait for the hesitant. Fortune favors the bold, but it rewards the prepared bold, the ones who plan their moves and act without delay. Here's another powerful point. Organized planning requires persistence. Temporary defeat is not the end. Every failure carries a lesson. Every setback is information. Edison failed 1,000 times, but each failure gave him new data. Henry Ford faced bankruptcy, ridicule, and rejection, but his persistence, guided by an organized plan, built an empire. Let me challenge you right now. Write down your desire, then write down a plan with steps. Ask yourself, who do I need on my team? What resources do I require? What is the first small action I can take today? Because until your desire becomes a plan, it is only a dream. This is why organized planning is the foundation of riches. Without it, you are drifting in the ocean without a compass. With it, you are sailing with direction, purpose, and certainty. So here's the truth. Wishes belong to dreamers. Plans belong to doers. Which one are you? Now let's move into the step-by-step side of planning. Napoleon Hill teaches that organized planning is not something you do alone in isolation. Every great fortune has been built with the help of others. He calls this the mastermind principle, the coordination of knowledge, skills, and effort between two or more people working toward a definite purpose. Here's the hook. If your plan depends only on you, it's too small. Wealth is built when ideas multiply through cooperation. Think about Thomas Edison. He wasn't alone when he invented the light bulb. He had a team of scientists, assistants, and business partners. Henry Ford didn't build the automobile industry by himself. He surrounded himself with engineers, mechanics, and organizers. Andrew Carnegie became one of the richest men of his era because he gathered brilliant minds in steel, finance, and management. Your plan must include people who can help you. People with knowledge you don't have, skills you lack, or connections you need. This doesn't mean you have to start with a huge team. It means you must be intentional about surrounding yourself with the right influences. Here's the action step. Make a list of areas where you are weak. Maybe it's finance, maybe it's marketing, maybe it's technical skills. Then, identify people who are strong in those areas. Approach them, offer value, build trust. This is how you create a plan that is bigger than yourself. But beware, plans fail when they are vague. You can't just write, "I want to make money." That's not a plan. You need clear, measurable steps. For example, save 20% of income every month. Read one book on investing each week. Reach out to 5 potential mentors this month. Launch a small online business within 60 days. Each of these is specific. Each has a timeline. Each can be measured. That's how you transform a dream into a real plan. Hill also emphasizes testing. Don't be afraid to experiment. Launch your plan on a small scale. Measure results. Adjust. Improve. Then expand. That is how empires are built, one tested plan at a time. And here's a hard truth. If your plan fails, it doesn't mean you have failed. It means the plan was incomplete. Change it. Revise it. Try again. Failure is feedback, not final. So, I ask you now, if your current plan isn't working, are you willing to adjust? Or are you clinging to a broken path? Because the ability to adapt is what separates the successful from the defeated. Now let's dig deeper into a principle that makes or breaks every plan. persistence. Napoleon Hill explains that a well-organized plan is useless if it's abandoned at the first sign of difficulty. The world is full of people who quit too soon. They had good ideas, they even had strong plans, but they lacked the persistence to push through obstacles. Here's the hook. Obstacles are not signs that you should stop. They are tests, designed to prove how serious you are about your goal. Think about every successful entrepreneur in history. They didn't succeed because their first plan worked perfectly. They succeeded because when Plan A failed, they built Plan B. And when Plan B failed, they created Plan C. Each setback became a stepping stone. Henry Ford faced bankruptcy multiple times before the Ford Motor Company finally stabilized. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job because he lacked imagination. Thomas Edison made thousands of unsuccessful experiments before discovering a working light bulb. If they had quit, history would not remember their names. So here's the lesson. Persistence is the glue that holds your organized plan together. Without it, your plan will collapse the moment pressure appears. Hill also adds another layer here: leadership. For a plan to succeed, it must have direction. Somebody has to take responsibility, make decisions, and keep the group united. That leader might be you, or it might be someone you choose to follow. But leadership cannot be ignored. And here's the truth about leadership. It's not about having all the answers. It's about taking responsibility when things go wrong and giving credit when things go right. It's about inspiring others to believe in the plan, even when results are not visible yet. Ask yourself this: are you willing to lead, or are you waiting for someone else to carry the burden? Because every great plan requires someone to step up and say, "We will make this happen, no matter what." Now, let's connect persistence and leadership. Imagine you have a plan to build a business. At first, people may doubt you. Some may laugh at you. Others may criticize your decisions. But if you remain consistent, if you adjust intelligently, and if you lead with conviction, eventually people begin to follow. And once you have followers, your plan gains momentum. This is the moment when an organized plan stops being just words on paper and starts becoming a living force. It takes on energy. It becomes bigger than you. So here's a challenge. Look at your plan right now. Where do you need more persistence? Where do you need stronger leadership? Write it down. Don't ignore it. Because those two elements decide whether your plan will die quietly or rise to success. Let's talk about one of the hardest truths in this entire book. Temporary defeat is not failure. Napoleon Hill warns us that most people confuse the two. They hit a wall, their plan collapses, and they assume it's the end. But in reality, temporary defeat is part of the process. It's the universe's way of asking, how badly do you want this? Here's the hook. Every time you face defeat, you're being handed two choices: quit and walk away empty-handed, or keep going and grow stronger. Hill says that many people quit when success is literally one step away. They stop digging just before they strike gold. Imagine the tragedy of putting in years of effort, only to abandon your dream when you were inches from the breakthrough. Temporary defeat is a teacher. It forces you to rethink your plan, sharpen your strategy, and eliminate weaknesses. It exposes flaws you couldn't see before. And every time you rebuild your plan with more knowledge, it becomes stronger, more durable, more likely to succeed. Here's the shift in mindset. Instead of fearing defeat, expect it. Welcome it. Because defeat is proof that you're moving, that you're attempting something meaningful. The only people who never face defeat are the ones who never attempt anything great. Now combine this with persistence. If you have persistence, temporary defeat becomes fuel. If you lack persistence, temporary defeat becomes the end. Ask yourself, When things collapse, when your plan doesn't go as expected, will you retreat or will you regroup? The answer to that question determines the size of your success. Hill is very clear. Defeat is not a signal to quit. It is a signal to adjust. Think of defeat as a mirror. It shows you exactly where your plan is weak and exactly where you need to strengthen it. Without it, you would keep repeating the same mistakes blindly. So, here's a challenge for you. Write down one setback you've experienced in the past. Now, instead of labeling it as failure, look for the lesson inside it. What did it teach you about your plan? What did it reveal about yourself? That shift in perspective is the first step to turning defeat into growth. Because the truth is this: defeat only destroys those who accept it as final. One of the sharpest points Napoleon Hill makes in this chapter is about decision-making. He says flatly, people who fail because they cannot make clear and definite decisions. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone with a dream, but they hesitate, they second-guess, they delay? That hesitation is the graveyard of opportunity. Here's the hook. Success favors the decisive. Not the perfect, not the cautious, but the decisive. Hill studied hundreds of successful people, and he found a common thread. They made decisions quickly and firmly. And when they needed to change a decision, they did it slowly, only after careful thought. Contrast that with unsuccessful people who take forever to decide, but are quick to abandon their choices when things get difficult. Why does decisiveness matter so much? Because indecision is a thief. It steals time, it steals momentum, and it steals confidence. Every moment you spend wavering between choices is a moment of lost action. And without action, no plan survives. Here's something powerful. Indecision is also contagious. If you're leading a team and you can't make up your mind, your group senses it. Confidence fades, unity weakens, and your plan crumbles before it even starts. But when you are decisive, even if your choice isn't perfect, people rally behind your certainty. That certainty creates energy. It creates movement. Hill warns us that the world has no patience for procrastinators. Opportunity does not wait for people who hesitate. While you're debating, someone else is acting. While you're overthinking, someone else is moving forward. And they're the ones who end up with the rewards. The beauty of decisiveness is that it doesn't require genius. It doesn't require perfection. It requires courage. The courage to choose, to act, and to adjust along the way. Remember this line: a weak plan executed with decisiveness is far more powerful than a perfect plan trapped in endless hesitation. So let me ask you, are you quick to decide, or do you drift? Do you own your choices, or do you wait until it's too late? Because every major fortune has been built by people who decided firmly and acted boldly, while others were still waiting for the right time. And here's the truth: the right time never arrives. There is only now. Napoleon Hill makes a bold claim here. No individual has ever risen to great success without the cooperation of others. Think about it. Every fortune, every empire, every groundbreaking invention you can name came from people working together. Even the so-called self-made individuals had mentors, partners, teams, or, at the very least, customers who supported their vision. Here's the hook. If you try to build your dream alone, you'll hit a ceiling. But when you bring others into your plan, people with skills, resources, and perspectives different from your own, you multiply your chances of success. Hill calls this the principle of organized cooperation. Your plan might be brilliant, but without others to help you execute, it stays just an idea. Execution is where success lives, and execution requires people. Now, Hill gives us a warning too. Cooperation doesn't mean surrounding yourself with yes men. It means aligning with people who bring real value, who challenge you, and who believe in the mission as much as you do. Empty agreement leads to weak results, but constructive collaboration builds power. Here's a real-world truth. People are more likely to support you if they see clarity, confidence, and fairness in your leadership. If you're indecisive, selfish, or unfair, you'll repel cooperation. But if you're firm in your vision, fair in your dealings, and generous in sharing credit, you'll attract the kind of partners who lift your plan higher than you could ever lift it alone. Another powerful reminder from Hill: no plan is sound if it ignores the human element. You can map out every step, calculate every cost, predict every outcome, but if you don't account for the people involved, your plan is incomplete. So ask yourself, who do you need on your team? Who brings the knowledge you lack? Who holds the connections you need? And most importantly, who is willing to commit to the journey because they believe in the mission? Because success is never a solo act. It's always a symphony. And the greatest leaders are not the ones who try to play every instrument, but the ones who know how to organize the orchestra. Temporary defeat, two words that crush most people's dreams. But Napoleon Hill tells us something shocking. Temporary defeat is not failure. Let that sink in. Every great success story has chapters of defeat written into it. Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Henry Ford's first two car companies collapsed before he created the Ford Motor Company. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Imagine if they had mistaken those defeats for final failure. Here's the hook. When your plan fails the first time, it's not a signal to quit. It's feedback. It's life's way of saying, adjust your strategy and try again. Hill insists that persistence is the glue that holds organized planning together. You can have the most brilliant plan in the world, the best team around you, and the strongest desire in your heart. But if you abandon the plan at the first sign of resistance, nothing matters. Success demands stamina. Here's a truth most people don't want to hear. The road to wealth is designed to test you. It asks, how badly do you really want it? If your desire is weak, defeat will stop you. But if your desire is burning, every setback becomes fuel, every mistake becomes a lesson, and every defeat becomes the foundation for your comeback. Hill gives a clear warning. The majority of people fail, not because their plan was bad, but because they quit too soon. They stop 3 feet short of gold. They walk away right before the breakthrough. Now here's the mental shift you need. Treat every defeat as data. Each failure brings you one step closer to the version of your plan that will finally work. Success is not built on perfection. It's built on iteration. So ask yourself, when your plan crumbles, will you crumble with it, or will you adjust, rebuild, and march forward with greater determination? Because in the end, those who persist rewrite the story, and history only remembers the ones who refuse to stop turning the page. There's a hard truth in the pursuit of wealth. Dreams alone don't pay the bills. To bring any organized plan into reality, you need capital. And capital, Napoleon Hill reminds us, comes in many forms, not just money. Here's the hook. Most people think of capital as only dollars and cents. But the most powerful capital in the world often isn't money at all. It's ideas, relationships, and specialized knowledge. Think about it. Every fortune you admire started with an idea. Ford didn't have endless money when he built his first car. He had an idea, and he convinced others to believe in it. Andrew Carnegie didn't begin with mountains of steel. He began with the idea that he could build an empire of efficiency and organization. Capital always flows toward people who can organize a plan and present it with confidence. Hill explains that money is timid. It doesn't move on its own. It looks for safety. It wants to be guided by brains. And here's the secret. If you can demonstrate a solid plan, backed by persistence, desire, and vision, money will follow you. But here's where most fail. They chase money without building the plan first. They ask for investment before they have proof of discipline, organization, or knowledge. And so they're rejected. Not because money is scarce, but because money knows they're not ready. Now imagine flipping the script. Imagine being the kind of person investors chase instead of the one doing all the chasing. How? By building a plan so sharp, so clear, and so practical that others see their own fortune in it. By surrounding yourself with a mastermind group that expands your ideas beyond your own limits. By presenting yourself as a leader who will persist through every obstacle. Hill makes it crystal clear. Money gravitates toward organized planning and confidence. It runs away from guesswork and hesitation. So here's the real question. Are you developing your plan in a way that attracts capital, or are you repelling it? Are you building something that looks like an opportunity, or something that looks like a risk? Because capital doesn't disappear. It shifts, and it's waiting for the person bold enough and organized enough to command it. Here's a truth most people never learn. Before you can sell a product, you must sell yourself. Napoleon Hill emphasizes that no plan, no idea, no invention will ever succeed if the person behind it cannot inspire confidence. Investors, employers, partners, they're not just buying into the plan, they are buying into you. Think about it. When Thomas Edison pitched his ideas, people didn't just see an inventor, they saw belief. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone decades later, people didn't just see a phone, they saw his conviction, his obsession, his absolute certainty that this would change the world. Confidence is contagious. Doubt is too. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you present your organized plan, these things either open doors or close them forever. Hill points out that there are countless people with brilliant ideas who never get funding, never get support, never make progress. Why? Because they fail to sell themselves. They stutter, they hesitate, they look unsure, and money runs from hesitation like fire runs from water. But here's the hook. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. It comes from preparation, from mastery of your subject, from rehearsing your plan until you can explain it with clarity in a single breath. It comes from knowing your numbers, anticipating objections, and showing up as someone who has already envisioned success. Every time you present yourself, you're either proving that you are the right person to lead the plan, or proving that you're not. There is no middle ground. So ask yourself, when you walk into a room, do people feel that you can lead? When you talk about your goals, do they hear certainty or do they hear hope? Hill is clear. Your ability to sell yourself is the foundation of organized planning. You can't shortcut it. You can't fake it. And until you master it, no plan will survive. Napoleon Hill now takes us deeper. He says, if you want to lead, if you want your plans to succeed, you must possess specific qualities. Without them, no amount of luck or money can keep your plan alive. Here are the essentials. 1. Unwavering courage. Followers will not trust a leader who shows fear or hesitation. Courage doesn't mean recklessness. It means the confidence to make decisions even under pressure. 2. Self-control. A leader who cannot control their emotions will never control others. Anger, impatience, and impulsiveness destroy credibility. Master yourself first, then lead others. 3. A keen sense of justice. People follow fairness. If you play favorites, if you treat others unfairly, your team will collapse. Justice builds loyalty. 4. Definiteness of decision. Indecision is poison. Leaders decide quickly and clearly. Even if the decision is tough, making one is better than endless hesitation. 5. Definiteness of plans. No one will follow vague dreams. A leader must present clear, detailed, practical steps, plans that show thought, not guesswork. 6. The habit of doing more than paid for. Leaders earn respect by going beyond the minimum. They set the standard by their actions, not their demands. 7. A pleasing personality. It's simple. No one wants to follow someone they dislike. Charm, respect, and kindness go further than authority alone. 8. Sympathy and understanding. Every follower is human. Leaders who understand struggles and listen deeply inspire lasting loyalty. 9. Mastery of detail. Big visions collapse without attention to details. Leaders who ignore the small things often lose the big picture too. 10. Willingness to assume responsibility. When things go wrong, weak leaders blame others. Strong leaders accept responsibility and fix the problem. 11. Cooperation. No leader stands alone. They inspire teamwork by being cooperative themselves. Hill stresses, if you lack even one of these qualities, your plan may collapse. Success requires you to embody them, not occasionally, but consistently. Here's the hook. People don't follow plans. People follow leaders. And people don't follow titles. They follow qualities. So ask yourself, when others look at you, do they see these traits? Do they see someone worth trusting with their time, effort, and money? Because if the answer is no, then before you fix your plan, you must first fix yourself. Napoleon Hill does not only tell us how to succeed, he warns us about the traps that destroy leaders. He lists the most common causes of leadership failure, and these lessons are just as important as the principles of success. 1. Inability to organize details. Leaders must handle details or know how to delegate them. Neglect of detail is a sure path to disaster. 2. Unwillingness to render humble service. Many people want to lead, but refuse to serve. True leaders are never too proud to perform small tasks. If you think any work is beneath you, you are not ready for leadership. 3. Expectation of pay for what they know instead of what they do. The world does not reward knowledge unless it is applied. Leaders fail when they think their titles or degrees guarantee success. 4. Fear of competition. Weak leaders try to hold others down. Strong leaders train others to become better. A leader's greatness comes from creating other leaders, not preventing them. 5. Lack of imagination. Leadership requires fresh ideas. Without creativity, leaders cannot adapt to changing times or solve new problems. 6. Selfishness. Leaders who think only of themselves lose their team. Success demands a balance. Yes, leaders earn rewards, but not at the expense of those who follow. 7. Intemperance. Excessive habits, whether anger, greed, alcohol, or any form of lack of control, ruin credibility. Followers lose respect quickly. 8. Disloyalty. Leaders who betray trust, who gossip about their team, or who fail to stand by their followers soon find themselves alone. 9. Emphasis of authority instead of cooperation. Weak leaders constantly remind others of their power. Great leaders rarely need to raise their voice because respect comes from actions, not threats. 10. Emphasis on title instead of character. Many fail because they hide behind titles. But titles don't inspire people. Character does. A true leader could strip away the title and still co. Hill's warning is clear. Most leaders fail, not because they lacked opportunity, but because they lacked humility, imagination, discipline, or integrity. The hook is this: leadership is never about the position. It's about the person. Ask yourself, are you building a foundation of qualities that last? Or are you clinging to a title that can be taken away overnight? Napoleon Hill now gives us one of the most practical steps in the entire book. You cannot create a successful plan alone. Every great fortune, every empire, every movement has been built with the help of others. Hill calls this the power of the mastermind group. He explains that when you ally yourself with people who share your vision, who bring their own skills, and who are committed to the same goal, something greater is created. It's not just the sum of minds, it's a new, higher mind. He tells us, no individual has ever achieved enduring success without the cooperation of others. Think about that. Not one. Andrew Carnegie had dozens of skilled men guiding different parts of his steel empire. Henry Ford surrounded himself with technical experts. Even Thomas Edison worked with a team of brilliant minds. Your plan becomes stronger when others test it, question it, and improve it. Alone, you may have blind spots. Together, you can see the road ahead more clearly. Hill warns, choose your allies carefully. Surround yourself with people of integrity, ambition, and specialized knowledge. Avoid those who complain, who doubt, or who drain energy. A single negative mind can poison the group. Here's the hook. Your mastermind group is the mirror of your future. If your circle is weak, your success will be weak. If your circle is strong, your success will be unstoppable. So ask yourself right now, who is in your circle? Do they inspire you, or do they limit you? Do they push you to higher standards, or do they pull you back into comfort? Your organized plan is only as powerful as the people you align with. This is the secret ingredient that turns a good plan into a great one. Napoleon Hill now delivers a hard truth. No plan, no matter how perfect, will work without persistence. He reminds us that the majority of people quit at the first sign of resistance. They start with excitement, but the moment obstacles appear, they fold. And that is why success belongs only to the few, the ones who keep moving forward when others retreat. Think about every great achievement in history. Edison failed thousands of times before perfecting the light bulb. Colonel Sanders was rejected hundreds of times before anyone agreed to sell his chicken recipe. Walt Disney was turned down by banks again and again before he built his dream. What separated them from everyone else? It wasn't luck. It wasn't genius. It was persistence. Hill makes it clear. Persistence is not optional. It is the backbone of organized planning. A plan will always encounter failure, setbacks, and detours. But these are not signs to stop. They are signals to adjust, improve, and press forward. Here's the hook. The difference between temporary defeat and permanent failure is simple. Whether or not you choose to persist. Hill writes that persistence is built by having a clear purpose, a burning desire, and a definite plan. Without those, persistence crumbles. With them, nothing can stop you. So ask yourself, when life tests you, and it will, do you crumble or do you rise? Do you take rejection as the end or as a challenge to prove yourself? Every setback is a test, and only those who persist pass it. Napoleon Hill now gives us one of his most powerful insights. Opportunity often hides itself inside temporary defeat. He warns us not to mistake failure for finality. More often than not, what looks like failure is actually opportunity in disguise. He tells the story of men who struck gold, gave up too soon, and walked away just 3 feet from the richest vein in the mine. They thought failure had beaten them, but the truth was they simply stopped too early. Another man came along, kept digging, and claimed the fortune. The lesson? Failure is a trickster. It has a habit of appearing just when success is closest. Most people surrender right at the edge of their breakthrough. But those who understand this principle keep going, and eventually the door opens. Here's the hook. Your greatest opportunity will almost always show up dressed as difficulty. If you turn away, you lose it. If you push forward, you claim it. So remember this: defeat is not the end. It is a signal to refine your plan, strengthen your persistence, and dig deeper. The one who refuses to quit is the one who wins. If this message resonated with you, don't just let it fade. Take action today. Strengthen your plan, commit to persistence, and never mistake defeat for failure. And if you're ready to master every principle from Think and Grow Rich step by step, make sure you stay with us through this full series. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Together, let's build the mindset that creates success.